Today's big question, can all birds fly? Hi, it's me, and this is my channel. And you know what time it is? It's time for some good old-fashioned science. It's time to take on one of the great science questions that has puzzled humanity since the dawn of time. You know the one? Can all birds fly? Now don't be fooled by the simple wording of this question. There's a lot more nuance here than you might think. So let's get into it. But before we do, I have a question for you. Can all birds fly? Let us know your best guess in the comments section below. While you're down there, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an exciting episode. So the basic idea behind this question is pretty straightforward. There are many kinds of birds, and they come in all shapes and sizes. Some are small, and some are huge. Some can fly hundreds of miles per hour, and some can only manage a few miles per hour. Some soar effortlessly on the currents of the upper atmosphere, and some struggle just to get off the ground. So given the huge range of capabilities within the bird world, the question of whether all birds can fly essentially asks if minimum flight capability is a requirement for being a bird. To answer this question, we need to define our terms. What do we mean by flying? Do we mean flapping flight? In other words, powered flight where a bird beats its wings to generate lift and thrust. Or are we talking about all forms of powered flight, including gliding, soaring, and even flapping? To answer this question, let's start with the bird's anatomy. As you may or may not know, all birds share a number of common anatomical features. They have feathers, wings, a beak, and a tail, to name a few. They also share certain skeletal features. For example, birds have hollow bones that make them lightweight, which is important for flying. But not all birds have wings, nor do they necessarily have to. Take penguins, for example. They don't have wings, but they certainly are birds. The same goes for ostriches, emus, and kiwis, all of whom are flightless birds. So it seems that having wings isn't enough to define a bird. Maybe it's the ability to fly. But are all birds capable of flapping flight? The answer, as it so often is in science, is it depends. A flapping flight, a bird must flap its wings sufficiently hard and fast to generate enough lift to take off and fly. This requires a lot of energy, so much energy, in fact, that most birds need to be airborne before they can start flapping their wings hard enough to generate lift. Some birds, like hummingbirds, are an exception to this rule. They can hover in one spot while flapping their wings slowly and steadily, generating lift from virtually a standstill. But even they can only do this for a few minutes at a time before they have to stop and rest. This means that for most birds, flapping flight is not a continuous action. Instead, it's more like a burst of energy that takes place over a short period of time. If that's the case, then yes, most birds can fly because most birds are capable of those short bursts of flapping flight. However, the energy required for flapping flight varies depending on the bird's size, wing shape, and muscle mass, among other factors. Smaller birds with shorter, stubbier wings and larger bodies relative to their wingspan require more energy for flapping flight. If a bird doesn't have the energy reserves or the physical capabilities to engage in flapping flight, it won't be able to fly. And here's where things get really complicated. Some birds, such as ostriches and emus, have evolved to be flightless because they don't need to fly to survive. After all, they live on Earth, not in the sky. But ostriches and emus are the exceptions, not the rule. In fact, scientists estimate that 99% of all bird species today are capable of at least some level of flapping flight. That means that for all intents and purposes, the ability to fly is a requirement for being a bird. So to answer the question posed at the beginning of this video, can all birds fly? The answer is yes, but only just barely. Thanks for watching.